Hey everybody, Matt Bowman here with the MLB Talk 101 and Redlegs Ramblings. Wanted to wish everybody a happy new year, happy 2014. Hopefully everybody had a great Christmas and a great new year. As we flip the calendar to 2014 as the baseball season draws near, I wanted to touch base a little bit on the Cincinnati Reds. There really hasn't been much Cincinnati Reds news. There's been a couple of rumors here and there. Biggest one of note during the winter meetings was the Brandon Phillips for straight-up trade for Brett Gardner. The Yankees shot down. Now, I don't know how much truth there was to that. Walt Jocketty denied it. Brandon Phillips didn't really say much about it. So there wasn't really much news about that specific rumor there. But it was rumored that Brandon Phillips was going to be traded straight up for Brett Gardner, but the trade was shot down by the Yankees. Now, again, I'm not a guy of a lot of speculation. I don't like to get my hopes up and think there's going to be a certain trade that's going to take place. I love rumors, don't get me wrong. I love hearing how things go down and all that, the behind-the-scenes aspects of everything. But I'm not one to speculate much because I don't like to get my hopes up, like I said. I don't like to think, there's going to be a certain player coming to the Reds. There's going to be a certain player that's going to be traded away. I'm not a guy of speculation. But that was the biggest news of note that that took place that has taken place so far this offseason. Obviously Shin-Soo Choo, there's been a lot of change in the Reds organization since the end of the 2013 season. Dusty Baker obviously fired Brian Price in as the new Reds manager. There's been changes with coaching staff, changes with the roster even. Shin-Soo Choo obviously just got signed by the Texas Rangers, $123 million deal, 7 years. A lot of money. Obviously, the Reds didn't have that money to sign Shin-Soo Choo. It was rumored that the Reds had made contact with Choo, contact with Scott Boras. But Scott Boras, obviously, he's a big name agent. And the Reds just didn't have that money to sign Shin-Soo Choo. And I'm fine with that. The Reds are going to move forward, though. There's been a lot of change, like I said. And the Reds are going to move forward from that. Shin-Soo Choo obviously had a big impact with the Reds this past year. In that leadoff spot. So, as of right now, the plans are to move forward with Billy Hamilton in center field as the leadoff hitter. If the Reds were to make a trade this offseason, again, not wanting to speculate at all, if the Reds were wanting to make a trade or were wanting to sign somebody, a center field option could be there. That probably could be the option as far as a guy to be acquired or a guy to be signed. But mainly I think it would be as protection for Billy Hamilton. Billy Hamilton it came up again at the end of last year and was electric. I mean, you really didn't get to see the full spectrum of his talent. He didn't get many plate appearances. He did steal a lot of bases in the limited time he had, but didn't really have plate appearances. Didn't really have much time in center field to show off his gloves, show off his arm, show off anything like that. You didn't get to really see his talents come into play. So, are the Reds set on Billy Hamilton in center field? Probably. They're going to move forward with Billy Hamilton in center field as of right now. Recent news just came out. The Reds have inquired on Grady Sizemore. Grady Sizemore, obviously the former Cleveland Indian, been out of baseball since 2011. He was often injured. Had knee surgeries, had many different injuries. But from what I'm hearing, he's healthy. Not saying that the Reds are going to sign him. If they do sign him, again, I think it's going to be as protection for Billy Hamilton. I don't think Grady Sizemore will be a starting center fielder. Again, he hasn't played in the league since 2011. That's been 3 years since he's played in the league. It's not going to be easy for him to make that transition, make that comeback, and play every day in center field in Cincinnati. I think Billy Hamilton's going to move forward as the center fielder. Another note. Obviously, this offseason, Ryan Hanigan was traded to the Rays. Sorry. Drew a blank there for a second. But David Holmberg came to the Reds in return in that three-team deal between the Diamondbacks, the Rays, and the Reds. David Holmberg, a lefty pitcher, hasn't really had much major league experience, but David Holmberg, a pretty good prospect, top pitching prospect in the Diamondbacks organization. The Diamondbacks organization, if you look at that organization, they are stacked in their pitching depth. So they had some pitching depth to get rid of, and David Holmberg was that guy. David Holmberg was a guy that the Reds liked, and I think David Holmberg could play a role to some extent in this organization this year. Probably starting out at AAA, AA, AAA, probably. But you know, David Holmberg, I think could make a name for himself. He was a top pitching prospect in that Diamondbacks organization. And that's saying something. The Diamondbacks, again, they have a great organization. They have a great pitching staff. You look at the guys that they've brought up through the organization. They've got Tyler Skaggs. They've got they've got so many guys at the helm ready to pitch in the major league level. But David Holmberg was that guy that the Reds said, you know what, we want him. So David Holmberg came to the Reds. So there's been change this offseason. It looks as if the Reds are going to go forward with Devin Mesoraco as the starting catcher. Brian Pena going to be the backup catcher. Brian Pena, I think he's a really solid backup catcher for Devin Mesoraco. And I think Devin Mesoraco, this is his year to shine. This is his year to really break out as an elite catcher. He's young. I think he handles the pitching staff pretty well. I don't think he gets enough credit for that. I think he's a really underrated catcher. I think Reds fans are spoiled with Ryan Hanigan catching. Ryan Hanigan was a guy that managed the pitching staff really well. Don't get me wrong, but I mean he even caught both of Homer Bailey's no hitters. But I think the Reds fans were spoiled with Ryan Hanigan at catcher based on the way he handled the pitching staff. A lot of numbers went into the starting catcher's ERA, pitcher's ERA with the starting catcher. I think we're spoiled to an extent. But I think Devin Mesoraco, I think it's his time to shine. I think he's a great catcher. Needs a little bit of work defensively, I believe, at catcher. I think he, I don't know if he gives up on the balls that are in the dirt, but a lot of pass balls, a lot of wild pitches in the past with Devin Mesoraco behind the plate. But all that being said, again, a lot of change, a lot of hope to look forward to in 2014 with this Cincinnati Reds ball club. I think they're built for success this year. They've got a hell of a pitching staff. You look at Matt Latos. You look at he's going to be obviously. I think he's going to be the ace this year. Johnny Cueto, had the injury problems last year. Johnny Cueto is still a great pitcher. Then you look at your number 3. You got Homer Bailey. Homer Bailey, I don't think he's going to be traded this year. You got Mike Leake. You got Tony Cingrani. You got so many guys that can fill that role. David Holmberg could even be a starting pitcher. You even got the likes of Robert Stevenson down in the minors. He's gonna work his way up through the minors, but he's not going to make a difference in 2014. Robert Stevenson isn't, but Robert Stevenson, a hell of a pitcher as well. Top pitching prospect in the Reds organization. You look at the organization as a whole. The Reds have depth in the pitching front as well, and their pitching staffs as well. But all in all, I think the Reds are built for success this year. Are they gonna make a run for the playoffs? I think they will. Obviously the Cardinals are always a strong team, and they're going to give the Reds a fit. And a run for their money. But I think again this year it's going to be the Pirates, the Cardinals, and the Reds, the top 3 in that division. I don't think the Cubs or the Brewers are even gonna make a name for themselves this year. I really think the top 3 teams in this division are the Reds, the Cardinals, and the Pirates. Not in that order, but I think the Reds make a run this year. You look at the changes they've made. Are they a perfect team? Not in any means. They aren't, but they have a solid team. You go through their starting lineup, and what do you have to complain about? You got Devin Mesoraco. We'll see what goes on there, but I think with full-time catching experience, I think he's going to do a really good job. You look at Joey Votto at first base. Nothing to complain about there. A lot of people say he needs to change his approach at the plate. I don't really understand that. I don't think he walks too much. He gets on base, yes. He's paid to drive in runs, yes. But Joey Votto, you can't really complain about him. You got Brandon Phillips at second. He's a pretty decent player, all things considered. You got Zach Cozart at short. You got Todd Frazier at third. You look at left field, you got Ryan Ludwig, a bit of a question mark after last year being injured. We'll see how he pans out. Yeah, Billy Hamilton in center. Billy Hamilton, I think he's going to be an electric player this year. We'll see how he hits. We'll see how he fields. But I think he's going to be an electric player. And then you got Jay Bruce in right field. And then you got Matt Latos as your ace. The Reds are a deep team. The Reds are a good team. Bench depth, gotten better with the addition of Skip Schumacher. We'll see how everything pans out. Brian Pena as well. I think he's a really solid addition to the bench. But all that being said, the Reds will make a run this year. I think it's going to be a really decent year for the Reds. Again, the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are going to be their prime competition this year. Pirates as well, but Cardinals I think are going to be the prime competition. I think if I had to rank the teams right now, as far as where they'll come out. I think it's going to be the Cardinals, Reds, and Pirates. I don't think the Reds have what it takes right now, the way they're built right now, to overcome the St. Louis Cardinals. So all that being said, I think it's going to be a good year. So looking forward to spring training. Spring training coming up here in a couple weeks. Pitchers and catchers report in just over a month. Spring training games start in about 2 months. So looking forward to this 2014 season as a whole. I think it's going to be good. So peace out. Have a good 2014. Take it easy, guys, and go Reds.